The old man standing alone on the America's Got Talent stage looked like he had walked straight out of history, not a talent show. His hands were shaking, his clothes were worn, and his voice trembled as he said he was about to sing Hotel California. The judges exchanged doubtful looks. No one expected what happened next. Before this night ended, the judges would be crying, the audience would be screaming, and the golden buzzer would be smashed for a poor Filipino grandpa who had waited his entire life for one last miracle. If you believe talent has no age and dreams never die, subscribe now and stay with us for this unforgettable story. The spotlight revealed a thin elderly man standing center stage, his gray hair neatly combed, his face carved with lines that told stories of decades of hardship. His name was Ernesto de la Cruz, a 72-year-old grandfather from a small fishing village in the Philippines. He held the microphone with both hands as if it were the only thing keeping him upright. The audience clapped politely, but there was uncertainty in the air. Many had seen performers like him before, kind-hearted but forgettable. No one was prepared for what this man carried inside his chest. When Simon Cowell asked Ernesto why he came to America's Got Talent, the old man paused for a long moment. His eyes shimmered as he spoke about his life. He said he worked as a fisherman since he was 12 years old, waking before sunrise, fighting storms, losing friends to the sea. Music, he explained, was the only thing that kept him alive during the darkest nights. He learned English songs by listening to a broken radio while mending nets. Hotel California became his favorite because, to him, it sounded like a dream you could walk into but never leave. The judges smiled gently, but skepticism lingered. Simon leaned forward and asked why he chose such a difficult song. Ernesto smiled softly and said that at his age, there was nothing left to fear. He said this song saved him once, and tonight, he wanted to give it back to the world. As the first haunting guitar notes of Hotel California echoed through the theater, Ernesto closed his eyes. His voice entered slowly, fragile yet controlled. The opening line floated across the room like a whisper carried by the wind. Something shifted immediately. The audience leaned forward. The judges stopped smiling politely and began listening intently. With every verse, his voice grew stronger. It was not perfect, but it was real. There was pain in it, longing, and a strange kind of peace. Each word felt lived in, as if he had spent years inside the song. By the time he reached the chorus, the crowd erupted in cheers. Ernesto did not react. He sang as if he were alone on a boat under a moonlit sky, pouring decades of memories into every note. Halfway through the song, the camera cut to Simon Cowell, whose expression had changed completely. His eyes were glassy. Heidi Klum pressed her hand to her mouth. Sofia Vergara whispered something inaudible, her eyes already wet. Howie Mandel shook his head in disbelief. No one expected this kind of emotional gravity from a man many assumed would struggle to get through the first verse. Then came the twist no one saw coming. During the instrumental break, Ernesto faltered. His voice cracked, and he stopped singing. Gasps filled the theater. He lowered his head, tears falling onto the stage floor. For a moment, it seemed like the dream had ended. Ernesto took a deep breath and spoke into the microphone. He said this was the part of the song where his wife used to sing with him. She had passed away 5 years earlier after battling illness, and this song was the last one they ever sang together. He apologized to the judges and said he understood if this was the end. Before Simon could respond, the audience began clapping slowly. One clap became hundreds, then thousands. The clapping grew louder, rhythmic, encouraging. Someone shouted, "Finish it." Ernesto looked up, surprised, his tears still falling. He nodded and began again, his voice shaking but determined. What followed was something no one in the room would ever forget. His voice, now broken, carried more power than ever before. Each note felt like a farewell and a promise at the same time. By the final chorus, people were standing. Many were openly crying. As the last note faded, silence filled the room for a brief second before the theater exploded. The audience rose to their feet in a thunderous standing ovation. Ernesto stood frozen, overwhelmed, his hands trembling uncontrollably. Simon Cowell stood up slowly, wiping his eyes. He said he had heard Hotel California thousands of times, but never like that. He told Ernesto that he didn't just sing the song, he lived inside it, and everyone felt it. Sofia Vergara said she saw her own grandparents in him and felt the weight of a lifetime in his voice. Heidi said this was the kind of performance that reminded her why this show exists. Howie said Ernesto had just proven that talent doesn't expire. Then came the moment that changed everything. Simon paused, looked at Ernesto, and said that some performances are bigger than the competition. He reached out and slammed the golden buzzer. Golden confetti rained down as the crowd screamed. Ernesto collapsed to his knees, sobbing uncontrollably. He pressed his forehead to the stage, overwhelmed by a lifetime of sacrifice finally being seen. The judges rushed forward, helping him to his feet as confetti stuck to his hair and clothes. Backstage, Ernesto spoke about how he never imagined making it past the audition. He said he came to honor his wife and to show his grandchildren that dreams do not belong only to the young. He revealed another twist that stunned everyone. He had sold his fishing boat, his only source of income, to afford the trip to America. He said even if he failed, it was worth it to sing one last time on a big stage. News of his audition spread across the world overnight. In his village back home, neighbors gathered around a single television, crying and cheering as they watched their beloved grandpa become a global sensation. His grandchildren saw him not as a struggling fisherman, but as a hero. In the weeks that followed, Ernesto received vocal coaching, medical care, and something he had never experienced before, hope without fear. He performed again in the live shows, each time reminding audiences that music is not about perfection, but truth. By the time the finale arrived, Ernesto stood taller, stronger, his eyes brighter. Whether he won the competition or not no longer mattered. He had already won something far greater. He had been heard. And on the final night, as he looked into the camera, he smiled and said that no matter how old you are or where you come from, it is never too late to let the world hear your song.